Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome to Live in the Dark with Videodrew. Want to read this review of nail polish, creepy nail polish that I got off of a Chinese drop site. Sums it up pretty well. Let's just say, Nove to buyers, recent experience in August. Shipping very quickly grew. Some take longer. D thought the arrived quickly. Test the artificial hand for tips. And gel extensions, nail ballads in spring. Colors my hand to the bar to the same color, but spree spraw used to think more foot cream fine then. 2 mustaches and photos taken. Top gel is curing gel. Glass man led top gel. Holding torque is not no practice with mountain bike. Fit it well. So that was 5 stars. And then think the holding force for good. Ultralight purple with 4 days and weeks while keeping snag on January winter servers with different color changes. Tips to practice writing without, and brought my hand in well writing negative. Anyway, I think they'll really enjoy those reviews that I wrote. Roll credits. I got a plate. It's got the 2 robots. How much would you pay for this plate? Just testing the waters. Anyway, again, welcome to Live in the Dark with Videodrew. Here at a different hour because it's earlier. That happens. We have some very special guests, singular, tonight. A very longtime friend of mine who I just put down as a reference in my dog application. So if you get a weird phone call, that's probably from my people. Vinnie Mancuso will be joining us tonight. But as always, I have with me my crow host, Daney. So you bring him up now. Guys, also, one sec. Remember, the Streamlabs are open. So go to streamlabs.com/Videodrew to send in money and then have a robot read the voice of what you said in there. And press like and subscribe. Hi, Daney.
I think I should unionize, make an onion of Live in the Dark employees.
An onion?
Yes.
Did you write
Like
the
a
review
guild.
for that website that I just read from? What are you talking about?
No, but I'm trying to buy the new book, Tale of Two Besties. They said it's very good.
Tale of Two Besties. Oh, yes. I wish I had it with me. Tale of Two Besties is the book that I ghost wrote one summer on Ambien. And it's not self-published. It's a real book. You can buy it. My name's not on it, so I could just be lying. But, I'm not. Anyway, what about the onion?
I mean, I've been thinking about our new guest, since he's a former employee of Videodrew Enterprises.
Yeah.
Maybe he can help me find some perspective on the work laws that we have here.
Yeah, well, first of all, wasn't an employee of Videodrew LLC. Just to get that right off the bat. We were employed together somewhere else. Secondly, all the laws that I say are real laws. You don't need perspective and you don't need outside counsel, Danny. If there's one thing I've told you this entire time, it's that you can leave whenever you want and you figure out how to work the lock. It's just gonna be easier.
Lock?
Yep. That's just figure it out, Danny. I think so. I think what we want to do is, because we had so much fun last week having Beth May, or my best friend Beth May, in to read the news with us. We're going to just start this episode off right and bring in Vinny, even before the interview. Even before you know who Vinny is, we're just going to bring him on to read our news segment. Let's do that now. Hey, Vinny.
What's going on?
Not much. How are you?
Good. I didn't know I would be reading a news segment. That's okay.
No, it's not reading so much as riffing. We're gonna riff on some news.
Okay. I know how to riff better than I know how to read.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like blogging, but you do it out loud and like, immediately.
Like breathing. Okay, I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, Danny. Not Danny. Sean, whoever I'm barking at. Movie news segment.
You just
now.
saying names?
I just said
So
A
many
name.
male names, right?
Let's see. So, Danny, read us out the news.
As you wish, boss. Warner Brothers is returning to a world of pure imagination for a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory prequel, new titled Wonka. The goal is to release it theatrically on March 27, 2023.
Okay, so I have some thoughts right off the bat. Vinny, I'm sure you've heard of this news already, but like, first of all, 2023, most theaters are getting a little too ambitious with their start time. They think they're going to get it, but 2023 feels like a little, like you could aim a little bit closer. You could do that a little sooner. It doesn't take that long to make Wonka.
You have to get people excited for the Wonka prequel.
Here you go, though.
You need
the hype.
You need a long run time for people to really get prepared to go see a Wonka prequel in theaters.
Okay, but here you go. Hear me out. Dream casting.
Okay.
Tilda Swinton.
Okay.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Or in a totally different direction, Timothée Chalamet.
So word on the street, this is what I've been hearing through the grapevines, is they're looking at Timothée Chalamet or what's Spider-Man? What's Spider-Man's name?
What's Spider-Man? Great question.
The current Spider-Man, not Tobey Maguire. They do not want Tobey Maguire to play.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. Yeah, because they want to do like young Wonka who bangs.
Do you think it's going to be like young Wonka who's taking over the place where the Oompa Loompas are from, and you could call it Imagination because that's like the name of the country?
I like that. I feel like there's got to be like Oompa Loompa lore out there already. Like, do we not know where the Oompa Loompas come from?
No, we do from the books. They come from like their own island that he like rescued in this very like Christopher Columbus like white man savior thing. Mm-hmm. He like saved all the Oompa Loompas, and then they loved the cocoa plant, and he was like, "You want to come work at my like factory?" It's kind of like just like having your own autonomy, but better because there's cocoa leaves. And he fed them that, and I feel like this is going to be getting into some tricky territory, but I don't know why. But Tilda Swinton and Jake Gyllenhaal, maybe I just want to reuniting the Okja pair.
What do you mean? Do you mean like Tilda Swinton as Willy Wonka and Jake Gyllenhaal as Oompa Loompa, as like every Oompa Loompa?
No, I mean both of them as Willy Wonka, sort of like that Bob Dylan movie.
Okay, I see that. And there's just no explanation for why they're different through every scene. I like that.
Yeah, right? I think that's pretty good. I always just think it's sort of like how The Greatest Showman has a very weird idea about how P.T. Barnum treated his freak show.
Yeah, they were all friends. He didn't abuse them. He definitely paid them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Oompa Loompas, they were forced to work. It's going to be problematic, and I'm all here for it.
I think it's from the guy who directed the Paddington movies.
Well, those were good.
Were good, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe throw like Hugh Grant in there somewhere. The Oompa Loompas. I don't know.
It has every single Oompa Loompa.
Hundreds of Hugh Grant.
Stereo on Mac says, Tom is very busy with the Uncharted movies. I know, Stereo. I know that. I wrote about that already. But if someone else, you're forgetting that this movie is going to come out at base level 2023.
Tom Holland. I legitimately thought they meant Tom Ryman. And I was like, what?
Like our Tom?
Yeah, like Tom. And I was like, I didn't know.
That would be interesting casting, for sure.
Yeah. You could go on adventures. I work with that man.
Okay. But when you said you had an inside scoop about who this is going to be, do you mean Jeff Snyder told you?
That's always what I mean. Like, he is the grapevine. Jeff Snyder is the grapevine.
He's the grape and the vines and the bitter grapes and the bitter vine. Okay, next one of these news. We're going to go to that.
That's all the news. There we go.
There we go.
Now we have a new one. A series adaptations of Tales of Dunk and Egg, a prequel to the events of Game of Thrones, is in development at HBO, which follows 19 years prior to the events of A Song of Ice and Fire. Interesting. I don't like Game of Thrones, by the way.
First thought, why?
Yeah, everybody was so hyped with the ending of Game of Thrones. I feel like, why ruin it?
Why? And you know what I always thought about Game of Thrones is like, I'm so interested in this lore. I definitely want to like go back just 90 years and just see like everything that's leading up to the last night.
Like, exactly. It's like we all know what happened 90 years ago. I feel like this is kind of funny because I remember George R. R. Martin saying like, "Oh, I don't want to do Dunk and Egg because I have so much more of it to write, and I don't want the TV show to overpass me again." So I guess they were just like, "You have no power here anymore, George." Like George R. R. Martin just does not.
Do you think that's it, or do you think George is like, guys, like I don't plan on like he's like I'm never gonna get these books done. Like he's had a whole year now in confinement to not go to any of those shows that were distracting and not go to any conventions to just sit down and write. It's been a decade since we got that last book.
I think he died 6 years ago. Like I feel like he's been dead for 6 years, and they just cannot.
He's a zombie then.
He's a White Walker. There you go.
Look, HBO should develop a series of the tales of Two Besties. I think that's a good series to develop.
Great. Just bring it back to Two Besties. Here's my other thought:
I can confirm that Drew wrote that book, by the way, because I was working with Drew. I was working while Drew was writing that book, and I can confirm, even though her name's not on it, she did write that book.
You can confirm that you were working while I was sitting next to you, supposed to be working, but instead writing a YA book.
A book was being written. I believe Drew.
That was a crazy 3 months that I was like, everything's coming up, Drew. That was 2014. It seemed real hot. We had that other intern, Nicole, working with us.
I hope she's out there watching right now.
I hope so too. But we'll get into that during the interview portion of this. My other thought is I was watching Troy. You know the movie Troy?
Yeah.
It's not about a guy named Troy, like not like Donald Glover.
It's about a time and a place called Troy.
It's about a time and a place called Troy. That movie is like very intense. I thought that movie was pretty well done.
I actually like that movie.
Do you know who wrote the screenplay?
The two Game of Thrones, the one Game of Thrones guy, right?
David Benioff.
Yeah, because the other Game of Thrones guy had never done anything until Game of Thrones.
I just think that's pretty wild because, like, what's really good about Troy is that it is just sort of like a holistic view of everything from the ground, like from the peasants to like the kings. All like you get everybody, and they're all sympathetic characters. I thought it was like the best Game of Thrones episode that I hadn't seen.
I like that movie, and I feel like I haven't watched it in a long time, but I just remember really enjoying that Brian Cox and what's his name were brothers, because like the best casting of brothers ever.
Yeah, I know. I just kept wanting him to like go into his Succession mode. So Brian Cox. Okay, we're gonna do the last one of these, but first I'm gonna fill up this drink with seltzer water and grapefruit juice. So you guys can just
salty water.
Yeah. Oh. So Danny can read the next news while I get this drink ready.
You wanted me to already read it? Okay, boss. The original Muppet Show, the zany variety show hosted by Kermit the Frog in the late 70s and early 80s, is coming to Disney Plus on February 19th.
I feel like I have no emotional reaction to this news whatsoever. And I feel like that
I have so much emotional reaction.
I feel like that bothers a lot of people. I remember when this came out the other day, I was like, I have no emotional attachment to the Muppets. And people sent like bricks through my window and shit. Like people are insane for the Muppets. I didn't know that. I didn't know the Muppets had such a fandom. Well,
I love the Muppets. I also read this thing in Deadline. I wonder if I can get the article up. That was about how... Okay, so the way this article made it sound was that there was an all-boys Muppet club that's really hard to break into. That female... They literally had a line about how female Muppets are hard to... I'm getting feedback. Do you have headphones in, Danny? I know Vinny does. I don't know why I'm getting this feedback. I read this article about how... I don't have headphones in, so maybe that's it. About how... It's really hard for female Muppets to break the boys club of the Muppets. And I was like, wait, do they have like Miss Piggy on background? Like, where did they get all
do you mean like the physical Muppets themselves are like less? Like, what do you mean when you say the female Muppets? Do you mean female puppeteers, or do you mean the literal female?
Great question. One that they did not clarify until like later in the program.
That's kind of my Muppets. I don't know. The Muppets freak me out. I feel like I remember when the Muppets came, they did a show or something, and they did a junket where like interviewers were talking to the Muppets. I feel like I would have like a panic attack. Like I can't do that. I cannot pretend the Muppet is real. I'm sorry. I can't. I know there's like decades of magic behind it. I guess I can't do it.
Apparently, it's very easy to forget the Muppets aren't real. When the first time Kermit came on Letterman, they tried to mic up the Muppet, and then like no one could hear like the puppeteer.
But yes, I apologize to everyone because I have zero emotional attachment to this news. I think it's nice.
Well,
I mean-
Muppets were great on Brazil in the 90s, you know. People loved them.
Tell me about the Brazilian Muppets, Danny. I actually am
I
into
already
this.
told you that. Like, Kermit is called here Caco.
Cockle?
Caco, yeah, it's his name. Sapo Caco. Caco Sapo.
That's like a way better. I feel like I like that better than Kermit.
Cockle suckle?
Caco Sapo. Sapo is frog in Portuguese.
Okay.
Okay.
That has like a lot more like pizzazz than just like Kermit the Frog.
Yes.
Kermit T Frog.
There you go.
No, I'm really excited about this. The Muppets have had a notoriously hard time getting like footing in this modern era. Like they've been like 4 or 5 reboots, I feel like, of the Muppets. There was that Office one, the one that was supposed to be like The Office.
Man. And it was like for adults, so there was like relationship
Sorta.
drama and stuff. Like yeah, kinda. It was on CBS.
Well, the Muppets have always sort of been for adults. That's the other weird thing. Their movies are for kids, but they're always sort of. I'm gonna get my headphones. They're always sort of. You guys like how prepared I am for my own show? They're always sort of for adults because the concept was it's a variety show that they're always putting on, sort of like SNL.
Wasn't
they're
the first special called like Sex and Violence? Wasn't like the Muppets Sex and Violence? Or
I mean, the Muppets are pretty sexual. Miss Piggy is the most sexual. Like,
Muppets are pretty sexual.
Miss Piggy is the most sexual character in television.
I feel like we should run back that sentence and explore it. The Muppets are pretty sexual. I don't think that's true.
I don't know, yeah. Not my cup of tea, you know.
Sorry, guys. I lost the audio for a second. You guys hear me?
I kind of, yeah. You sound
We
like
hear a robot that
you
sounds
sound like you're at the
you.
bottom of a very deep hole.
Oh, no. What happened?
Does your headphones have a mic into it?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Maybe it's speaking that mic instead of your actual microphone.
Yeah, the closer you're getting to that mic, the better I can hear you.
Okay. Is that good?
Okay. Yeah. Now back to my normal.
Perfect, guys. Sorry about that. What
Was.
were you saying?
The Muppets being a sexual symbol.
Yeah, I think we were sexualizing the Muppets before you.
The Muppets are for sure the most sexual creatures. Miss Piggy is the most sexual of the Muppets. Like everyone knows that. Like her whole thing, like
I don't live in Colombia, Kaiser. Get away from me. Jesus.
Yeah, wait. So tell me the name of the other Colombian Muppets.
I don't live in Colombia, Drew. Jesus
I don't
Christ,
care. I think Kaiser had a good idea.
It's a valid question.
I cannot speak Spanish, but I can search the fucking Muppets names on Brazil. Wait a second.
Okay.
Oh, fuck. All right. Go internet, please. All right. So basically, the cook monster is called Come Come, or Monstro das Bolachas. Basically.
Monster that's what?
Man, I really messed up today.
Big Bird, we talked about that in one show. Big Bird is called... Okay. Can I continue?
Gotcha. Yeah, go ahead.
Big Bird, and I think we talked about that in a previous show. Big Bird is called Garibaldo, like an actual name for the
His name is just Gary? That's hilarious.
Yo, Big Bird is not a Muppet. He's a Fraggle.
No, he's a Sesame Street. He's a Sesame Street resident. His name is just Gary, which is genuinely hilarious.
His name is Gary?
His name's just Gary.
Yo, what's Snuffleupagus' name? Like,
it better always be Snuffleupagus.
Oh, wait a second. He's not the most...
I do like in this imaginary world of the Muppets, like, they're still like, Big Bird, like, you should get your head checked. Like, there's nobody here. Like, there's nothing.
Snuffleupagus is still Snuffleupagus. They didn't change that.
What's Miss Piggy?
Good.
Miss Piggy is still Miss Piggy.
So they just changed Big Bird to Gary. That was the one big...
Garibaldo and Caco Sapo.
Yeah, okay.
Caco Sapo and Big Bird. What about Gonzo? What do you guys have for Gonzo?
For Gonzo. They just changed the pronunciation.
Wow, this segment is way less fruitful than I thought it was going to be. Okay. Any other changes? Any other big... What's the name of the show over there?
Os Muppets. Instead of the Muppets.
Not a huge change either.
Not a huge change either. Wow. This is not paying off the way I was hoping.
A lot of things aren't translated in.
A lot of things don't
English
pay off the
translation.
way you want them to.
A lot of things don't pay off the way that I
That's
hope.
his life. You know, that's Sesame Street.
Who
So
let
now
this
it's time
guy
to
in anyway?
Gonzo equals Danny the Colombian Muppets. Perfect. Hi, nice to see you, Kaiser. Excited to see Kaiser, our manager of the dungeon, who's made some big moves recently.
For now, until let's see what happens Friday.
Yeah, let's see what happens Friday.
Yeah, Gary Baldwin, basically, kind of like an idiot.
Now comes for the portion of the show where we interview Vinny about whatever comes to our mind and what's going on with him. So, Vinny, how are you?
Good. I just learned that in Colombia, Big Bird's name is just Gary, which is genuinely funny. Like it's gonna be hard to get past.
Not Colombia, by the way.
Not Colombia, Brazil.
Yeah.
City of God.
Exactly. Where the
City,
most beautiful people
Fast and
live.
Furious movie.
Yeah, 6,
Or
7,
5.
Fast 5, Fast 5.
9.
Fast 5. Fast
Fun
5.
fact, they never film it here. They never film it here. There's no single shot here in Brazil.
They did have that. They did have that City of God, Rio de
You're
Janeiro.
telling me that the Fast and the Furious movies don't shoot on location?
Yeah, actually,
they had stock
Are
footage.
you
Yeah.
trying to
from
tell
YouTube.
me that the Fast and the Furious movies don't shoot on location?
Vinny, so you're doing well. You work at Collider, where you are a senior editor, correct?
Correct.
Before
For
that,
now.
you worked where?
I was a freelancer for a year and a half, and
Uh-huh.
before that, I worked at the New York Observer, which turned into just Observer.com. And I worked with you there. That was my first job out of college. We worked for Jared Kushner at the New York Observer.
For so many years. And what would you say your experience, not overall was over there, but I would say specifically your experience working with me. What was I like as a first boss? And you don't pull any punches. You can.
I feel like it drastically did not prepare me for a real job.
What? How is that possible?
That's a compliment though. Because that was generally just the most fun job ever. Because we just
So it was basically college all over again.
basically, yeah, we did whatever we wanted and had unlimited money to do it somehow.
Guys, we moved past this. Are you high
in
again?
Colombia, my nickname is just Gary.
Yeah, Gary. It's just Joe.
Vinny
No,
the Gary.
Vinny, I wanted to go in a little bit because I remember I have a lot of memories of you that I wanted to go into. I not bad memories. I don't think photos that I pulled up mainly because there was very few photos of you at the
I
time.
don't think any photos were taken me at the Observer.
Now,
Exactly how I wanted it to be.
what happened was I was a writer for the Observer, and then I decided I want my own TV vertical, or maybe someone decided that for me, that I want to do only television, and they wanted me to get one of the interns at the office to be my assistant on this. And it was the year before I was getting married and writing this book and all this stuff. So they introduced me to Vinny. We went out. We had a good meeting and stuff. But Vinny, you were very quiet. I remember that about you.
I was legitimately out of college for a week. It's I think I had graduated a week before. I just got hit. How old was I? How old are you when you graduated college? 24?
22?
Yeah.
22?
22 maybe. Actually, yeah, that sounds more accurate. I don't know. I was not 25 yet. I know that. I had just gotten hit by a car a week earlier.
What?
Yeah, we had a one last party at my house in college, and I got hit by a car that night. I don't think I've ever told my parents that yet.
Oh my God, Vinny!
They were don't get hurt before graduation. And I was like, oh, I totally won't. I got hit by a car.
Was this a house where you found the dead body, or they were looking for the dead body?
Same house. I didn't find a dead body. There just happened to be a dead body there, which is a whole nother story. But I feel like that probably contributed to why I was quiet that day. I had just found a dead body not 1 month ago. For real though, not even kayfabe dead body, a shoot dead body.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I kind of had no idea what was going on at the time. I didn't know if I was getting a job or because I was just an intern at the Observer, which I had admittedly never heard of before I was an intern there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I was quiet.
Well, I remember asking you at this lunch, do you want to be a journalist? And you were like, I mean, maybe. Like, you didn't seem that enthused about it, which endeared me to you, because I also did not want to be a journalist.
Yeah, I got that internship because I was like, I want to write and I need college credit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got like an email about that. And I was like, sick, sounds good. And Emily, whose last name I can't remember, which was kind of really messed
Emily
up.
Epstein.
Yes, she gave me that job because I interned at Marvel. She thought that was cool.
Oh.
And yeah, but like I had no journalism experience. She was like, "Oh, it's cool that you interned at Marvel." And yeah, so yeah, I didn't really, but like it turned out it like worked really well. I think if you were like, "Do you want to come on and write about like city ordinances?" Like, I would have been like, "No, I don't." But you were like, "Do you want to write about TV?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds."
I was like, "Do you want to maybe go get kidnapped by a day from the people on FX?" Because one of the first things I had to do was a very funny stunt job, because we used to get these ridiculous things. It was so cushy. It was a different life and it was a different era. But like, people would just send you stuff. We got like all the networks would invite us to go do stuff. But one of the first things was FX had a show about like people that were rich in the Middle East. Like I forget what it was called.
It's called Tyrant.
Tyrant, right? So what they were doing to promote the show for the marketing thing was they were having some guys drive around in like a black van with tinted windows and jump out of the van, surprise unsuspecting people with like lavish gifts or like violin serenades.
It was so tone deaf. It was so absurd tone deaf. But we emailed them and I was like, "Can I? Oh, what was it called? It had an insane name too. It was like the Upgrade Army or something like that."
Yeah, it was called like the Upgrade Army. I think that was pretty much it.
Which is just like really tone deaf because like the whole show is about like terrorism. We were like, "Hey, can I ride around with the Upgrade Army all day?" So I went around in this black SUV and like jumped out at people and gave them champagne. It was.
Take it.
It feels
that
like
seems like a cool job.
It was a sick job. It feels like a completely different life. Yeah.
Well, Vinny, let's go through some of our good memories at the Observer. Like there were some really fun times.
My first ever interview was Stan Lee. Like,
wow!
Like 2 days after I was hired, I interviewed Stan Lee. I was like, okay, I think he died like not that long afterwards. So I was just like, man, really glad I got that in there. And he was awesome too.
Didn't Stan Lee die like pretty recently? Because he died between.
Yes, he did it pretty recently.
Maybe honestly, you know why I think that? Because he was just so old. Like I interviewed him and like he couldn't hear what I was saying at any point.
Yeah, there was a time that he was not feeling very good.
Yeah, but like he was still like real with it. He was just like couldn't hear anything, but he was still like sharp as a tack.
The interview that I always felt bad about, like I wanted to go harder on, but then like the guy was just so old and seemed so broken that I was just like, ugh, like I can't even have it in me. Was when I interviewed Frank Miller.
Yeah. He's one of those people where you're like, oh man, he's gonna be real combative, and then he's just like this shriveled old crone, and you're just like, oh no.
He had, like his hands were shaking. Like I was just like, what did you think about your problematic?
Everything.
Descriptions.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about women? I mean, also you were dying.
Yeah, I don't think I ever interviewed Frank Miller, and I'm kind of glad about it. He's still alive, right?
He's still alive, yes.
Yeah. I remember one of my best interviews there, and John Kaiser, if you're still watching, you'll be very impressed by this. I interviewed the guy who played Leland Palmer from Twin Peaks.
Oh man, wasn't he like super like way too friendly?
Like no, he was the perfect amount of friendly.
Okay.
The perfect amount of friendly.
What he did was, I was interviewing him, if you remember, Vinny, for a Chipotle.
Oh yeah, and it was just like,
show.
Screw it, who cares what it's for? It's Leland Palmer. Yeah, I do remember that.
So sweet, such a nice guy. But like the idea was, I went to this hotel room. Sorry, I'm getting like that huge echo again. Did anyone else hear that, or am I just crazy?
I can hear it.
I hear from you, coming from you.
Let's see if that fixes it.
Oh yeah.
Ah, okay.
Oh yeah.
So Leland Palmer, he was the Ray Wise is the actor. He was in a show that was on Hulu, and it was sponsored by Chipotle. So it was just like long form advertisement for Chipotle, but they didn't call it that. They called it like some sort of vertical, like ethics, like ethical vertical integration, which meant they never mentioned Chipotle in this show. That was underwritten by Chipotle.
Showing you Chipotle.
It was all about like how they used like small farms and like he was the bad big farmer and stuff. And it was supposed to be like the Chipotle ethos, but like as a TV show.
So it's like the vibes of Chipotle, but like not directly Chipotle. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But I kind of want to see if I can find it. Like, does it still exist? Like, is it just on the internet?
I don't think. I mean, I doubt that still exists. But I remember asking him about the beach, and he was like very nice, and he just smiled real big, and I hugged him, and I was really happy. And I walked out of the room, and I remember him going like, "That's a beautiful young woman," like in behind the closed door, and I was just so happy. I was like, I could have been killed in this place. Like, that was amazing. What were some of your favorite interviews? So you said Stanley was one of them. What did you get out of that Stanley interview?
Oh, it was sick. He was just like Stanley. I don't know. It was weird. You walk in. There's some people where it's just like an interview and it's like whatever. We walk in the room and Stanley is sitting there, and it's just like it's like you leave your body. There was what's his name? There was Mike Coulter, the guy who plays Luke Cage in Luke Cage, and like midway through our interview, we discovered that he worked for my dad. He was like, hold on. He was like mid sentence. He was just like, hold on, Mancuso. And I was like, yeah, that's my name. He was like, do you know Joe Mancuso? And I was like, yeah. He's like professor at Rutgers. And I was like, yeah, that's my dad. He's like, oh, I was his TA for like 2 years.
Wow.
That was funny.
I think this is also like, not to dive a little too far off track, but this is also how I found out the most interesting story that you like low key just kind of mentioned one day off the cuff without like ever giving us explanation at the time, which is the time you went to a strip club with Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, which isn't even.
You went to a strip club with Michael Fassbender?
Yeah, which isn't even. It's so funny, which wasn't even an interview story. Like that, I was not doing this job. That was like friend of a friend worked with Bryan Singer, which was a creative partnership that did not work out for many reasons. But yeah, I was on the set of X-Men Days of Future Past, and on the final night we were there, everybody went out to dinner, and everybody like dispersed, and the only person left was just like drunk ass Michael Fassbender. And we were like, "Hey man, do you need a ride home?" He's like, "I don't need a ride home. I need a ride to the strip club." And he took us there, but we were basically taking him there. And the best part was like he had a 6 a.m. call time the next day. So it was like an 80s movie where we were like trying to get Michael Fassbender home, and he's like, "No, let's like keep going to other bars." It was one of the strangest nights of my life. But like,
you hang out with Michael Fassbender.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He was
he was just like a party hound. Like, first of all, I'm going because I'm thinking about the Michael Fassbender that I'm thinking about, which is the one from the Ridley Scott Prometheus. I'm thinking Prometheus. Style Michael Fassbender trying to get strippers at the strip club.
Yeah, he's the opposite of that. He's just this very loud, boisterous Irish man who I think was like in love with the bartender at this strip club, and it was kind of funny because it was like this. He was just like striking out. And like everyone else in the bar was like, "Holy shit, it's Michael Fassbender!" And this bartender was like, "I don't care, I'm working."
That's incredible.
It's a very loud Irish man out of my face.
Now we do have a bunch of memories about other actors from Days of Future Past and times that they struck out. Most notably,
I was like, "What? Oh, you know exactly.
You know exactly what we're talking about." Most notably, the time that Evan Peters tried to kiss me on my birthday, and Vinny was there, so he can back that up as proof.
Wait, what?
That did happen. That was honestly one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. He was. First of all, it was your birthday, and you had that interview, and you were like, "Yeah, it'll be this bar. I'll see if I can get Evan Peters to come." And I was like, that's funny." And then I showed up, and Evan Peters is just sitting there. I was just like, oh, he decided he could make it.
Well, I think actually what the story was I didn't have a birthday party planned. Then I realized I would be interviewing the love of my life, Evan Peters, on my birthday. So I was like, I need to come up with a birthday plan stat. So all I had was my work friends, because at the time, like, say what you will about The Observer, we were a really close group of people. Like, I really loved everyone there.
It was a good time. I regret almost nothing.
Everything up until like 2016.
Yeah, there was a very strange decline around 2016. I can't really name it.
So yeah, so I invited all my work friends, and then all my other friends, I guess later on found out like and got upset. But like I was like, this was a fake party. It was a ruse. This was my ruse to get Evan Peters to.
And it worked.
Of course.
Like,
and it worked so well. You know why? Because celebrities are just like us, except more isolated and like weirder.
Yeah,
more isolated.
I will never forget I was like buying him a taxi because he was so drunk.
Yeah.
Like right before he got in the taxi, he like looked me in the eyes. He's like, "Hey man, do you want a mint?" It was like I was like not expecting. I was like, "Sure, Evan Peters," and he like took like 20 minutes and was just like, "Okay, here you go." Gave me a mint, got in the taxi, drove away, and I was just like, "That was the strangest interaction I ever had."
I remember his publicist. I've started to keep going on this. We interviewed many famous people. You interviewed Susan Sarandon, who hit on you.
I was in a paparazzi photo with her because
Wow.
they thought I was like her hot young lover. And I was just like, because after the interview, she's like, "Do you want my apartment's like right down the street? Do you want to walk me home?" I was just like, "Sure, Susan Sarandon, I would love to." And was
Susan
Susan, her hot young lover.
and we were like standing on the corner and like they were like taking a bunch of pictures because they thought we were like a couple. And I was just like, I didn't sign up for this. Like I literally just want to interview her. And then I went and saw my friend in Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I was just like, "Hey, I was with Susan Sarandon earlier today. She said you look like a great Rocky."
That's amazing. What are some of the other memorable ones? Not even necessarily the good ones. I know you had one shitty one at the beginning, but you don't need to talk about that.
The worst one. I mean, I could talk about it. It wasn't even bad for like any reason. It was
no reasons that were your fault.
Yeah, it was Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody was just like
Brody.
The biggest, just the worst. Just the worst. I don't know. He was just not a good. Oh, there was Hannibal Buress.
I was thinking Hannibal.
Yeah, I compared him to what's his name, Bill Cosby, and then like a week later he like ruined Bill Cosby. Well, not really. Bill Cosby ruined Bill Cosby's career, but he like a week later is when Hannibal Buress first was like, "Yeah, Bill Cosby's not a good dude," and I was like, "Oh, that's why he got so mad at me comparing him to Bill Cosby."
Yeah, that was a tough one. Adrian Brody, I remember editing that piece of yours. The thing about the Adrian Brody piece was like he only wanted to talk about his dreams.
His dreams and his paintings of fish. Like anytime I brought up like the movie we were supposed to be talking about, he was just like shut down completely. And then I was like, "Okay, so you've been painting?" And he's like, "Yeah, I need to tell you this 20-minute story about how I've only been painting fish, and how I've been dreaming of fish, and I don't know what it means." And I was just like, "All right."
So you actually went and found a dream
psychologist.
A dream psychologist.
I called this dream psychologist who was like in this like windy Scottish moor. Like I could barely hear. It was like the strangest phone call in my life. He was like, "Sorry, I'm outside. I'm in Scotland." I was just like, "Okay, can you analyze Adrian Brody's dreams for me?"
That's actually perfect.
And he did, and it was like I'm actually really happy with that story. Especially because the interview was so terrible, and I was just like, it was a cover story. It had to be like 3,000 words.
It was, as our old editor would have said, it was making what would you say? It's making a
which one?
It's making a purse out of a sow's ear is what.
I don't know if I ever heard that one.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I'll say one of the worst ones for me was Kevin Spacey, which should surprise nobody.
Yeah.
We did him for a cover story.
Wasn't he like the first cover story? Like
that was Alan Cumming, who I also did.
Oh, okay. He's aged much better than Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey, I've had to take off my wall of like celebrities that I'm like proud to have interviewed.
Yeah.
But I will say that he was so mean to me. Like not mean, he was just so dismissive to me. Like he looked at me like he looked through me, and he very clearly didn't want to be doing the interview. As a favor from a friend, Bo Wilmon, who, hey, thanks NerdChronic. Thanks for saying my hair looks on fire. Oh, are you saying on fire or just fire?
Is my hair on fire?
I don't think your hair is on fire.
I was friends with the House of Cards co-creator or creator, sorry, and he just got me this interview with Kevin Spacey. That was a big deal at the time because Kevin Spacey wasn't doing interviews. Like he hadn't done an interview since this big GQ one. They called him gay. That made him leave to London for like several years.
Yeah.
Never did an interview. Got this interview with him. He knew that he could run out the time of the clock because we only had like 20 minutes for the interview by just talking about how he has tricked people on planes into believing his dog is an emotional support dog when it's not actually an emotional support dog because he just wanted to bring it on the plane. And I was like, oh, good one. Good.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for that, Kevin. Yeah.
Well,
he turned out to be a terrible person. So
one of my proudest, sorry, this is going through like a this is your life, but one of my proudest moments was definitely an interview with Daveed Diggs, which I got as a cover story for The Observer, even though they didn't want me to because they were like, he's not Hamilton. He's not famous enough. and I got it, and it came out like the same week as like the Tonys swept, and it was like I got them
That
like
was also like a really cool cover. I remember that because like I feel like it was just people being like, "What's Hamilton?"
It was What's Hamilton, and then people changed their minds.
And like a week later, it was like the biggest thing in the world.
It was already a huge deal, but they were just, they want like the big name on it. I just remember I was very proud because that was the first, not trying to toot my own horn, that was the first time like a person of color had been like on the cover of the paper. So I was, ending racism, no big deal.
And you did it. And here we are in a post-racism world.
I wanted to ask though, you've done a couple cool interviews over Collider. I know one of them's on your Twitter as being your favorite interview of all time. Can you tell me a little bit about that one?
I can. Doug Jones, who is like Guillermo del Toro and the rest of Hollywood's like go-to monster guy. He's the monster in Shape of Water. He's the fawn in Pan's Labyrinth, which is my favorite movie of all time. He's the guy. He's the
monster.
He's Abe Sapien in the Hellboy movies. He's the zombie in Hocus Pocus.
He's a zombie in Hocus Pocus. Good one. He's also the vampire, the really old vampire in What We Do in the Shadows and in What We Do in the Shadows TV show.
It's true. It's definitely something in Buffy.
Yeah.
And we talked for like an hour. That was one of those, I don't know, not to bring everything back to the Observer, but that was like a very Observer-ish interview where we just talked for like an hour about like whatever. And like there was nothing to like plug. It was like there was no like movie. It was just like, hey, do you want to talk about your entire career for like an hour and a half? Which we did.
Well, I just think that's the coolest thing. That was one of those things that like really gets lost now. It's like at the Observer, I don't know why. Maybe it was because it was a New York thing. Maybe it's because it was considered like high society. But like when we did interviews, there was never a junket. Like it was always just like, do you want to hang out with this person for like an hour and a half?
I talked
or like
to
go on a party to him?
What's his name? Pedro Pascal, who's now like the most famous person in the world. In this,
he's a great guy. Come on.
In what's it called? In this like $4 million New York apartment that was like overlooking Gramercy Park, and it was just like designed to look like a castle. And me and Pedro Pascal were just like hanging out in this apartment. But yeah, so yeah, like all the stuff I do at Collider is they're cool interviews, but they're just they're missing that, like, I don't know.
They're missing the I'm driving 3 hours tonight. Yeah, they're driving up 3 hours tonight to go hang out at Christopher Walken's house. And like,
man, wasn't he like super not into being interviewed? Because
he was just super weird. There was one part, so he talks very slowly, and I was in his like herbarium or like his his inside garden or whatever. And at one point, he's like 70 whatever years old. I'm interviewing him, and at one point, he just like looks up, like very startled, and he goes, "Do you hear that?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" And he rushes out of the room, like just runs like so fast. Like I didn't know an old man could bolt that fast. Like he's very tall, like a posing figure. And there's like 10 minutes, and there's like banging, and there's shouting, and he comes back into the room. And he's like disheveled, and he goes, "It was
a bird.
Nothing."
What was he doing? I didn't even know that part. I just remember the picture that he took with him, which was like one of my favorite pictures of all time because he's just like
really good.
Stone faced. But yeah, I don't know. We've done some cool interviews at Collider. I can't even think of any. Jim Carrey recently. That was cool.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
He has one of the most intense handshakes I've ever experienced in my entire life. He was just like here. He's just like, Jim Carrey. I'm just like, all right.
Oh my God.
All right.
I do want to know, how happy is he about the Joe Biden stuff? Because that means that he gets to be on SNL for so much longer.
I think he gave up the job. I think he was like, I've done my part. I'm shipping off into the sunset now. And it's just like, thanks for your terrible Joe Biden impression.
I do believe that he thinks of himself as singularly responsible for Joe Biden winning the election, and I hate that about him.
And so does, what's his name? Alec Baldwin was like, did you see the picture of him like at the end of after Trump lost? He had a picture that just said like, "You're welcome," as if Alec Baldwin's impression is what took down Trump.
I don't think that
Alec Baldwin isn't just like he's just another Trump. Like if you live in New York, you know that Alec Baldwin is literally just he's just like a slice away from Trump. It's like
he's one presidential like win away from just being Trump.
It's really truly like using Hannibal Lecter to like catch like Red Dragon. You're just like, okay, well you're both awful though. Neither of you are good people.
Did you ever interview Alec Baldwin?
No, but remember he was on MSNBC for a while. Remember, he had his own show on MSNBC. So I did get to meet him a couple times, along with Obama, who I met twice, and I would have met for a third time, but it had nothing.
Oh, here we go again.
I know that I love using that line from Get Out, and I love using the line from Knives Out, where it talked about like Hamilton's like, yeah.
Hey, cool tattoo.
For what, Vinny?
No, what Obama said to you.
Oh yeah, cool tat. I was talking about Vinny's tat though. You have a very cool tattoo that you came into work once, and I was just got.
Oh yeah, and you thought I was just like, oh, you're displaying your depression. It's like, oh yeah, kind of, but it's just from a book. It says don't panic, and you're like, oh, it's good advice, and I was just like, yeah, it is good advice.
I thought it was the way that like Britney Spears gets like don't breathe, or like sorry, like just breathe, or like she gets don't
terrible
breathe. She gets breathe, or Lindsay Lohan, they just have like breathe on their wrist to remind themselves to do these automatic bodily functions, I guess. And I thought this was like you just being like, okay, Vinny, don't panic. But
I mean, it kind of is.
You actually have the same tattoo as somebody else in the dungeon on Schmoedown.
It was so funny. We met each other, and it's just, like before we even said a word, we were like, it was meant to be. I think he was like wearing the same color shirt as this too. We were just like the same dudes that day.
And like I'm sure this
might
be common knowledge. It might not be, but I actually changed teams to be on the dungeon because my mom called me up and she was like, "Can you believe Vinny got in the draft?" I guess my mom was paying attention to the Schmoedown, and I was like,
somehow.
Your mom probably knew before I did.
I mean, she was so excited, and I was like, "Well, what the fuck? Like, if Vinny's over in the dungeon, I have to get my ass traded to the dungeon." So luckily that worked out, and we had a really fun season. I feel like last year
I had a good time. I had a way more fun than I thought I would.
Right?
Thing is how like I didn't know I was doing it until I was doing it.
People liked Vinny a lot.
It was fun. I'm like kind of hyped for the next season because I'm like, okay, what if I actually like try a little harder this time?
Yeah, what if we actually? That was me the first season. I was like, that was me not caring. Like, can you imagine if I cared?
I started caring with like by the end, and then COVID happened, and got like 2 more matches. But no, I'm kind of hyped for. I'm hyped for Friday. See what happens.
Yeah, me too.
If
you're still watching, you better do it.
Yeah, wink, wink. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I was told.
Kaiser's got a lot of great stuff going on right now. Everyone's calling him.
He has a lot of plans.
I know. I feel like it's no longer the ragtag crew, and now we're like friggin' like I don't know.
It's like if
I was gonna try and do a sports metaphor.
Karate Kid, they were like, okay, so now I've never seen the TV show, but I'm gonna be like, so bear with me as an analogy. It's like if Cobra Kai came over to like the other dojo, and you're like, oh, okay, well
this one's great at karate now. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a big move. Yeah. Respect to the man.
Yeah, good respect on the moves. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens next season. I do have one request from the audience. Guys, reminder, Streamlabs is open. Please like and subscribe. Super chats are open, blah, blah, blah. NerdChronic says, at some point, ask Vinny about Stand-Up Blizzard versus Donkey Kong. Oh, this was a big trailer that dropped today. Stand-Up Blizzard versus
I don't know what you mean by that, but now I do know what you mean by that.
Yeah, that's what I call him. I called it Stand-Up Blizzard because I thought that's what he was.
He dives.
He's like not. What is a Stand-Up Blizzard a real thing?
No, yeah, it's a real thing that I made up. It's first of all, there's a subreddit that was made up, and I did not know about this when I came up with my term. I just watched Godzilla, and I was watching Godzilla King of Monsters first, and I turned to NerdChronic and I said, "Is that just a stand-up lizard?" Like
you didn't know what Godzilla was. You were just like,
I didn't know if it was a dinosaur or like a turtle with radiation. I don't know.
No, that's a different.
He's between a lizard and a turtle. Yes, I can see that.
He's turtle. I mean, I don't know. I'm hyped for stand-up lizard versus Donkey Kong. Is this an anti that movie environment right now?
Who do you think's gonna win between the two of them? There's a standing up lizard, and can I tell you something in the trailer? And spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the trailer, but don't be one of those people who are like, "Oh, you ruined the trailer for me," because like, get out of here, get out of here.
That's
First of all,
like
you had all
the
the
definition of public knowledge. It's what
Yes.
that's like the purpose of trailers is to watch them.
Spoiler alert. So there's one point where it looks like Donkey Kong got himself like a giant axe that allows him to take the fire breath.
I think
Godzilla.
it's like made of Godzilla's spikes. Like I think he took one of his spikes and made an axe out of it, which shows like a level of knowledge I was not aware King Kong had. But I think
he has a lot of skills, right?
There's at least 2 shots in that movie that imply aliens.
Yeah, I think the last movie had aliens, right? Wasn't it?
Ghidorah
is from outer space.
Oh, Ghidorah's from outer space, but I mean like aliens that are in tiny ships and are like relatively human sized.
Like aliens.
Aliens. There's like a shot in the trailer where, I guess you're right, because since Gamora's from outer space, that counts. But like in the trailer, it looks like when King Kong is touching that. King Kong, I said his name right. Touching the thing. First of all, he's inverted. The mountains are upside down behind him. So I don't know if he's hanging upside down or if that's just like a weird composite shot. But then there's like a little spacecraft that just zooms off in the background, and you're like, what?
I gotta watch it again. I mean, I don't know. They've done some weird shit. Like I said, like the giant 3-headed monster is already from outer space. Why not?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite? Canonically, who's your favorite of the thing? Cujo.
What's the giant turtle's name?
Gamora?
No, not Gamora. That's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Gamera.
Gamera. I guess it's probably spelled the same. Huh? I loved him as a little kid. I had like a Gamera box set that I bought at Suncoast Video. Back when
do you think that the reason he has jet propulsion tanks out of his butt is because like that was something that also had to do with radiation, or do you think that was like an experiment, or like how do you think that works? Because he has jet propulsion out of his butt.
I think he like got that done. Like he went. that was the procedure that Gamera did to give himself rocket propulsion out of his butt.
So he's sort of like Wolverine, that he was both genetically enhanced, but then also had stuff done to him.
Yeah, as a lot of people are shocked to learn that Wolverine, the adamantium is not part of his powers. That's kind of the same thing with the rocket propulsion of Gamera's butt.
It's just like his little jet butt pack. I love it. As somebody who owned a turtle for all of 2 months before it died, I can really get behind it.
Oh, really?
Vinny was there for that too. Vinny was there for all of it.
What was his name?
Turtletop.
Yeah. That's an incredible name. Yeah, he did die real fast. That was tragic.
It was really sad. But before we get into the really sad portion of me spiraling downwards from another thing, because it's already the sad portion of the show, we do have a game that we want to play with you, Vinny, that we've come up with just for you. It is based on your knowledge stuff, so we never try to like surprise anybody. But this is going to be a game called Name the Marvel Character. So we've done one of these for DC before. It worked out perfectly. I was able to name them all. But beyond naming them, you're supposed to also like tell like what you think that they do and like their function and who they're friends with, and like just give us a little bit of a backstory as much as you can or feel like.
I'm into it.
Let's do it. As our resident Marvel fan. Dude, I just read House of M. Because of your go ahead.
It like helps. I'm telling. I did like a deep dive into like comics and shit over the past week, and it makes WandaVision easier to understand.
Honestly, it's why I read it, because I read your deep dive on Collider. But I would plug the link, except I'm doing my nails right now. But like, go on Collider and check out Vinnie Mancuso's work. It's because of that. But anyway, so let's get started on this one. Let's go.
Jesus. Okay.
That's Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of England.
Prime Minister of the world. Great name. What's his deal?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Is that not Is that not the Union Jack? Am I wrong here?
I think it's like the Rocket Pop Man, because like it's like a mild mannered ice cream man.
Yeah, he does the Rocket Pop stuff. Like that.
Yeah, Rocket Pop. He gets hit by gamma rays. He turns into his favorite of the ice cream that he sells. It's a Rocket Pop. He becomes ripped, for some reason. Just dribbling abs. Like, this looks like a character that should not be serving children anything.
Yeah,
but
I feel like it's strange. Like is the red part looks like clothes, and then the rest of it looks like nothing. Like it looks like he's wearing a shirt, no pants, and boots.
Yeah, you're right. It does look like they're like just modestly shadowing in some parts we're not supposed to see.
Very tasteful cinematography happening.
What do you think, Danny?
I think that Boris Johnson's superhero name is Captain Target Mark, because the X like shoot me please, you know.
Yeah, it's like X marks the spot, man.
His
so
power
he's not
is just like getting shot to death when in opportune times.
And also, I think that what I love about him is his boot work. I also really love like a good over the thigh high boot. That's really good.
Like, I feel like they're shockingly high. Like I even like I didn't really take into account that how they go way past the knee and like deep into the thigh.
You know why, Vinny? Because he's draining the swamp.
That's classic Boris Johnson. That's what he always said.
Boris Johnson draining the swamp, or whatever they call it, like in London, like the moors, the moors, draining the moors.
Yeah, all those damn werewolves and shit out there.
Okay. Oh, Jared saying he's spending 2 weeks binging The Return. That was another thing me and Vinny did. I made him watch all of Twin Peaks before it came out again.
I became a Twin Peaks fan because of that.
Yeah.
And still am to this day.
And I'm going to be sending you a Twin Peaks engagement. Oh, well, congratulations, first of all.
Engagement.
I did recently get engaged, and all I ever wanted was a Twin Peaks present for it. That's why I did it.
Great, because they're going to be Twin Peaks in wedding rings, so I hope that like that's appropriate. From your former boss. We didn't even get to Blur 4-2. We'll save it for the end.
My god, yeah, that's the finale.
How can you tell that I did? How can you say that I didn't prepare you for what it was like?
After work,
I can say that I've never experienced anything like that again. I take that as you will.
Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, let's go to the next super guy,
Captain
or
Britain.
woman, super.
Women can be superheroes now. It's 2021.
Yeah, super person.
We were right in the nationality of the character.
I don't even think that's a superhero. That's just a dude.
This is just something that somebody drew and like sent to us. It was like, what do you think of this?
Fan art of Danny.
Wait, what?
I think that's what this is. This is Danny fan art drawn by Sean.
And it's incredible.
Good job,
thank
Sean.
you. I wish I had a body like this. I don't.
But you notice how he drew your hairline to be a little bit like a bat, because he's like always constantly rubbing you for like the bat thing, and then
it's the bat.
Really good line work on that, Sean. I don't know.
I feel like this is just like a differently shadowed version of the last character. Like all this, like this is like what was going on. This was what
he washed off his white body paint,
and this is what was underneath. Grab his trident.
I didn't realize how many of these guys just look like wrestling characters.
Yeah. I feel like wrestling is just comics, but like a little, like slightly more homoerotic. And that's why it works. And that's why it works.
AJ Linkist is saying, this is definitely just a photograph of Adam Driver spearfishing. Fair enough. I tried to make someone watch an episode of Girls the other night.
Wow. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
But it was such an important cultural touchstone for me personally at the time that it was coming out. I didn't realize just how irrelevant that show looks now. Like that show just
it's a show that literally could have only come out in that exact moment when it did.
And that's what you can say about it. Also, my boobs were on an episode. That's also
you can say two things about it.
Two things about it. Guys, next one of these. We're just gonna blow through them.
This is Namor, by the way.
I thought it was like hairless Jason Momoa or something.
That's DC.
The wrong universe.
Sorry.
Like the guy who's like in their version of Atlantis. Sorry, not Atlanta.
Oh, that's Gary.
This is
That's Gary.
It's perfect. In America, we call this one Big Bird.
I'm sorry.
And you can clearly see why.
Wait, that's amazing. First of all, I think just move on to the next one. That's just Gary looking over his plans.
It is, yeah. And he's doing classic Gary stuff.
Oh my God, Gary!
Classic Gary.
You look at this guy, and you're like, there he is. It was Gary.
Gary just like Gary's knees are just terrible.
Just vibing.
Damn, that's a bad knee over there. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what else we got.
Producer Sean.
These all do, but they this look like the same guy sharing on different clothing.
That's my thought here. This all looks like the same dude.
And like he's like, this is like the same guy going through like different stages of depression. Just like trying out a new thing.
Yeah, this is like his new look. He shows up like on Sunday of like his Sunday with the kids, and he's like, "Hey, you guys like my new look?" So my girlfriend Trina, you'll
is this working for me? Because then it's the same cross stitch.
I mean, it's the same character, kind of. Let's try to find a different looking dude.
I guess Gary.
Sean, come on, Sean, you can do a better job.
Not a better job, but like kind of a better job.
Basically, a better job.
This is Wonder Man.
This is all like, even if I saw those three guys, I'd be like, oh, I think these guys are doing alter egos because like I'm pretty sure that's just the same dude. But I'm also in the back of the class being like, yo, everyone knows that like Clark Kent is just always leaving when Superman shows up.
There he is. This does not look like the same man.
Fuck?
I don't know who that looks like underneath there. It could look like anyone.
No, that's like what this guy looks like. that's his face. He's a horseman.
So how is this not the guy?
This is BoJack Horseman on anabolic steroids.
Oh, is that a horse?
BoJack Horseman.
Is that
More like Mr. Peanut Butter.
This is BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, that's Charlie the intern. I thought actually that was. I'm blowing it.
Oh my god, I love Charlie the intern.
For a while, we had a TV spirit animal of the day, and it was mostly just Charlie the intern.
It was like an excuse to write about Charlie the intern.
Charlie the intern, the frog from BoJack. I'm blowing it.
I remember when they announced Christian Bale was going to be in the new Thor. I wanted him to be this character so badly because
wait, who is that character? Because I thought that was it looks just like the dude from the DC films. What's his name?
This is Beta Ray Bill. He's like a Thor bro.
A Thor bro?
Yeah, he's like a Thor bro. And I really wanted Christian Bale to be playing this extremely gigantic horseman.
It's Thor for for Love and Thunder, right?
I think it's just Love and Thunder, but yes.
That's really cool. Taika Waititi is way cool.
Good for him.
Everybody likes Waititi.
Why are you jealous, Danny?
No, why I would be jealous of Taika Waititi?
Everybody likes that guy. What the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, what's there not to be jealous of? He's sexy.
I feel like I am.
And am I not?
I feel like I am objectively jealous.
I'm Brazilian, so
okay.
I am sexy as well.
Danny, stop interrupting. Two, you have every reason. Let me just tell you this. I don't like to be like someone's better than you because that's like a rude thing to say. All I'm saying is you should probably be jealous of Taika Waititi.
You should find jealousy of Taika Waititi if you don't have it.
You should. If you were
Vinny, did Drew as your boss make you cry anytime? No, sometimes.
She would come in every day and tell me that I'm not as good as Taika Waititi.
Lie. I never came in every day. That's a
good point. Yeah, every 2 weeks she would come in, drop in, say you're not as good as Taika, and then leave. And I was like, that's really rude.
That's
really
rude, isn't it?
It was Eagle versus Shark, so like it was just like a really rude thing to say about like somebody who hadn't really broken.
Yeah, I was like, who the hell is Taika Waititi?
And I was like, haven't you seen What We Do in the Shadows? It's the guy who plays like the dandy one.
Yeah, he wasn't as famous back then. What a time.
Yeah, what a time to be alive, or take a time machine. You could do a Tenet and go back in time and spoiler for Tenet, the worst movie I've ever seen.
I hate that movie, genuinely.
I
sorry if this offends, but man, that movie sucks.
You know what? I thought I hated other Christopher Nolan films, but it turns out because I won't spoil Tenet for anyone who's seen it. I was on board for like a good way longer than like I should have been on board for that movie. I was like, no, I get it. Like I love temporal stuff, and I was like, I get it. It makes sense. Like at least in how it needs to make sense, it makes sense. And then it like stopped making sense. And then also like I can't imagine seeing it in the theater when you couldn't have understood anything that anyone was saying. Like
my favorite part of Tenet is when they randomly do an exposition scene on a sailboat just to like make sure you can't hear anything. They're like, we're gonna have a conversation, and they cut to them just on a sailboat, like a athletic competition sailboat. Like, this is where we chose to have this conversation.
None of that movie makes sense if you think about it too hard, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. So lucky you guys, I will not do that today.
So that's basically BoJack Horseman, the god.
It's basically BoJack Horseman, but for time.
Yes. For time.
Okay, next one. Hold on. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
This is my doctor. This is the guy I go see.
What kind of doctor, Vinny?
I thought this is like when you get to a certain age, you go see this guy.
Oh, okay.
Or something?
This is Marvel's most mighty proctologist.
He just zaps electricity over and over.
It's every man of a certain age will see this guy.
Yeah, this is that's. I'm starting to realize something. This might not be a Sean problem. It might just be an issue of, first of all, apparently no ladies in Marvel, but secondly, no.
No, that's the Sean problem. There are a lot of ladies in Marvel. Come on.
Well, I'm just saying, like, this seems like maybe like there's just a lot of cis white dudes in Marvel, and we should change the ratio on that. And don't you think? And if you don't agree, then you're like biased.
I agree.
And that's how we get.
I agree.
That's how we get.
I have zero argument against it.
Okay. Well, that's the mighty proctologist, man. He's by day he is just a dude, and by night he kicks ass or does something with ass.
Yeah. During the day he kicks ass. At night he makes sure they're healthy.
I also like in the comments Garth is telling us who these people really are. I think that's what Garth is doing. But like hilariously, I don't care. Like
he has a face.
I feel like you just described like the beauty of comic books. You're just like, you tell me like the backstory and the name, just like I just want to see this guy like punch a dragon or something. Like I don't care what his deal is.
Punch a dragon. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I've seen a couple of people that I've been like very impressed with their powers. Mainly in Grant Morrison's version of Animal Man. Was it Animal Man? Where there was somebody. I'm hearing that echo. So weird. There was an
Are you in that fucking cave or something?
No. I'm just gonna try to step away from here. Nope. Hey?
I hope it's like not. I hope it like hasn't been me the entire time. But I have headphones in. I don't see it.
I also have.
I think this might be better. Okay, so let's see if this fixes it. But what I was gonna say is in Animal Man there is a villain whose whole thing is that he. This can drive me nuts. Is that he has the power of death. When he touches you, you die. And that's like
horrible.
Horrible. He doesn't want to be a villain, but he realized his power could only be used for like evil. So he kind of like he
could have thought about that like a little harder. Like you can't just be like, oh, I can only use this for evil. You could just not. You could just not. You just not.
I mean, well, it's more like the power is the power itself seems to be very evil. Like there's not very much you can do with the death power.
You could work like in the veterinarian's office. Put animals down humanely.
I believe that was maybe his backstory.
Wow.
I believe he was a vet of some sort.
He was a vet?
Maybe not Animal Man, but the guy who killed him. Or sorry, the guy who had the power of death.
Yeah, and put dogs down humanely.
Yeah.
It's like
after sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, proctologist man, great. Oh wow, we got a donation. Vernon saying,
hello, Vernon.
Hello. Hey, Vernon. Now's a good time to mention, we are going to, with our new model of Patreon, we are going to have the after show available to anyone at the $5 and up tier. So check out your Patreon for that. We have that right after the show. Vinny, you are more than welcome to come, but I also know it's late New York time. Or sorry, Jersey time.
It's the same thing.
It's the same time. That's how.
Yeah, but careful anyone from the bridge and tunnel set that. Maybe so. Okay.
There, that should do. I agree. I agree with what this man is saying.
What is he saying?
It says there, that should do.
Oh, well, that's sort of like Sean telling us, like, here, I found one. So this is still like a white dude in a helmet.
But he has big shoulders.
I feel like his like where his torso is and where his neck is don't line up properly. Like I feel like
that doesn't make
something
any
went
sense.
horribly wrong between.
Someone went horribly wrong in the making of this man. I believe it.
This is wrong, man.
This is like the time I bought like a really cheap Twin Peaks not a sweater, but it was like a sweatshirt from like China, and it came with like, and it was really cool. It had like the Laura Palmer thing. It had these weird Jude ears that were really cool. But the one thing was that it didn't have a neck. Like it was for people with no necks, I guess. And so the whole thing made me look like a fall guy when I wore it. Anyway, you should buy it. It's on my Depop page. So go check it out.
I genuinely don't know who this character is. Like in a non-joking way. Where's Garth? Where did he go?
Let's see. Wait, and also, well, maybe it's Mysterio with like he's not wearing the helmet.
Isn't like
nothing like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, that's very true.
He looks nothing like young
Beyonder.
Classic. That's my bad.
Secret Wars. Yeah.
The Beyonder.
Yonder.
He goes beyond.
He's not wrong.
Maybe he's from another Earth, like Earth 60. I don't give a shit.
He's from the third part of Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah, he looks like, I like his chrome wear. Like I feel like that's cute. That's cute.
I think this is like my favorite look so far.
Yeah, well, I like it how it looks like the head is like it would retract up, sort of like a DeLorean, like
yeah, it would close, and he would look like Black Manta from Aquaman.
Yes, so this is this is on the team from Striking Vipers X, the best episode of Black Mirror, with Anthony Mackie, Collider's favorite Anthony Mackie.
Oh man, I've seen that one.
You know what was a better movie than Tenet that dealt with similar issues?
What's that?
Synchronic with Anthony Mackie.
I've never seen it, but I heard it was really good.
Really good. I love those two.
What's
just
his name?
More.
They're doing Moon Knight now.
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
Moon Knight?
They're not. They're like directing. They're not like in charge of it, but they're directing a few episodes.
They are awesome. They're
having a heck of a year.
The Endless. It's part of that other movie. Like they have like these expanded universe movies.
VHS.
No, not VHS. It's called the
Oh, they did a movie that's like in their own little.
Yeah, they have their own like little world, and it's called not Dedication. I'll look it up. I'll figure it out. But it takes place in the Endless universe.
They're good. I like them. I hope nothing but success for them. Benson and Moorhead, is that their name?
Benson and Moorhead, yeah. They're really good. What's a movie called, Eric? Remind me. It's called, I can't stand this. Something. Audio issues abound. Okay, so what else we got? Steve Rogers, someone's saying who it is. It's
he's
basically
brunette.
God. He took on a human form as Steve Rogers with dark hair, which is this version. Wait, so this was him masquerading as Steve Rogers? I feel like he should probably go back to the drawing board because, like,
yeah, get the hair right.
like he came down, he's like, guys, I'm Steve Rogers. Like, Steve Rogers has never looked like that.
Nice. Okay, let's see if we got another one or two of these. These are just I'm gonna say depressingly heterogeneous. See,
Jesus.
We got a blonde one.
Yeah,
that's Arthas from Warcraft, you know.
That looks like a Skarsgard.
Yeah, this is the Lost Skarsgard. That's what the S stands for.
This is actually this is like the Skarsgard born to protect the island that they're all from.
Yeah, this is Gunther Skarsgard, and he's been
actually up for Ari Aster's making a Midsummer Part 2 about him. It's gonna be awesome.
Do you know how good a Midsummer set on the Skarsgard island would be?
Do you remember the time that I talked to Bill Skarsgård about what separates his family from the rest of, like, Swedish? And he goes, oh, not much. We're, like, all very normal. We just all live on the island. We all surf a lot. And we're all uncircumcised. And I was like, what?
Oh.
What? Pennywise. What?
Oh, Pennywise. You didn't have to say that, though.
This is before he did anything besides Hemlock Grove, that terrible Netflix show. So,
my God. Yeah, that's the first thing he was ever in.
Yeah, that's the first thing he ever did.
Circumcised.
When I went to go see The Lighthouse at a screening, friggin' Alexander Skarsgård walked in and was just like sat down in the first row and watched it. And like he's so distractingly gigantic that like all I could look at was Alexander Skarsgård the entire time.
Did he talk to you afterwards? Did you say
He
hi?
did, like a week later, he signed on to do that director's next movie. So it's like that's why he was at that screening. It explained everything.
Oh, nice. Did you break any scoops with that? That's like a pretty good scoop.
I didn't. I got 0 of that scoop. I didn't know why he was there. I just thought he came to see a movie.
I didn't know he was going to be in Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong.
Yeah, he is. He's playing Donkey Kong's cousin.
Donkey Kong's cousin. I mean, I do like the idea that like in these movies, not to go back for a second, but in these movies, the conceit is like we've got to like figure out, we got to help whichever one we like. Like we got to help Godzilla, we got to help like Donkey Kong. They don't need your help.
Yeah, what are you doing to help?
Yeah, you're just messing up.
Getting in the way. You can't do anything.
What is your role here, Millie Bobby Brown?
Yeah.
What's your role here?
The children I understand because like the children can kind of communicate, but like, what does the army ever think they're doing there? Like, what are you
just constantly shooting rockets at them that aren't working? We're just wasting our military's money shooting at Donkey Kong. Or King. Now I'm genuinely calling him Donkey Kong.
Yeah, well, his name is Donkey Kong. He's Donkey Kong of the island. The weirdest thing about this movie, and again, because I started watching this like in a weird order, I watched Gods and Monsters, or like Donkey Kong, King of the Monsters, whatever. I watched that before I saw the rest of them. So I walked in thinking Millie Bobby Brown's family has been the leads of this movie for the entire time. We were really invested in them because they opened up on that movie and you're supposed to care that their kid died in the San Francisco accident, which I meant that like we watched, the son get squashed as King Kong, or sorry, as stand-up lizard like saved San Francisco, but then also just like decided to take a walk back to the ocean and like crushed 1 million people.
Yeah, see ya. Yeah, have you seen Kong Skull Island? Because I genuinely I really like that movie.
I haven't seen it.
I feel like people don't like it.
No, we in this household we really like Kong Skull Island, and furthermore we like think that this movie is hopefully going to bring it back, like going to bring things back to how fun that.
If the vibe is Kong Skull Island, then I'm in. I'm like all the way in because that movie rules.
If the vibe.
The vibe.
Oh yeah,
the vibe is Kong.
This next move has the Kong Skull Island vibe,
I feel like you can do that game of like, I like doing that game of like who has fought a Godzilla, a Predator, and like a X-Men thing. Like I like playing that game of like who's in the MCU and also like But I feel like the answer to that when you come to the Godzilla stuff is like everyone. Like in Kong Skull Island alone, you have Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like Kong Skull Island like breaks that game open.
Sorry.
Brian Tyree Henry is in the new one, so he's fought Godzilla and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
So has what's his name? I love him so much. He's in Kong Skull Island.
Shea Wiggum.
Yeah, Shea Wiggum. My Shea Wiggum appreciation.
He has like the funniest death scene in Kong Skull Island. Spoilers for Kong Skull Island.
Here's my hot take. Shea Wiggum's going to be the next generation's J.K. Simmons because like he's always playing the same angry cop dude, but he's so good. He's so good at it.
I've never been mad when Shea Wiggum shows up as like a sad cop.
Yeah, or like an angry cop. Sorry, an angry cop or anything like that.
There's our sad cop.
Did you watch Waco that he was in? That was pretty good.
No, was that a TV show?
Yeah, it was a Waco miniseries by Michael Shannon and anyone Michael Shannon was friends with on Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, really?
I love
like he's got all his Boardwalk Empire friends to show up and like do this.
Good for him. I would do anything Michael Shannon asked me to do.
Remember the time he came to our anniversary party?
I don't. Oh, I wasn't there. I don't think I had been like hired yet. That was like a early anniversary party. I think I was still an intern.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, he was there. Michael Shannon just showed up. Donald Trump was there. It was a very strange party.
Yeah, I was not at that one. I think I remember that.
Chuck Close was there. It was a pretty crazy one. Anyway, do we have one more? I'm just trying to see. Because then I do want to read Blur 4 too.
You have the email. A woman. It is a woman. This is Marvel's one woman.
Of course. Finally.
Okay, so I think I know what her deal is.
Listening to men explain things.
Is she the chick from WandaVision that we're getting up? Is this Maria Lambo or whatever? Rambo?
Monica Rambo? Or
yeah.
It's possible. Actually, I do think that's who that is.
Is it Monica Rambo?
I have no idea who she is.
Well, I'm just gonna guess that's who that is because I'm guessing Marvel.
Garth gave a hard nope.
What? Sean saying a hard nope?
Hard nope.
Oh, okay, so who is that?
Monica Rambeau.
Not Monica Rambeau. Okay, well then who is it? Is it Spider-Man's cousin?
I'm honestly
America Chavez.
America Chavez. It's like basically like saying Paul. Like her name's just she just has a normal name.
So
America
it's scary.
Chavez? Where are you guys getting this from? Where are you find?
It says it right on the screen.
I didn't put that up. America Chavez.
I didn't condone this.
I didn't condone this. America Chavez. I want to know like what's her deal?
She's got that America shirt on. She's having a good time. She's
Miss America.
I like that.
Miss America.
Which has a very different connotation, but I guess she's also Miss America. She won the pageant.
She did it. She won the prize of being the only woman in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I kind of actually do have a question about like whether it's gonna bother me about whether America is gonna stop being such a hot ticket thing for people to dress up as in like these superhero things. Like, I don't know if it's the best country to be like.
Yeah, like you. Why are you proud of this?
Yeah, if you show up in like, an America outfit, like you're not a good guy.
She's a member of.
Thank you, Amber.
Members. I'm learning a lot tonight.
Thank you, Amber.
Thanks for the donation, AJ. He says we need
Squirrel Girl talk up in here.
We need some Squirrel Girl talk up in here. Who is Squirrel Girl?
She's a member of the Great Lakes Avengers.
There's what? Sorry, there's regional Avengers?
There's a West Coast Avengers. There's a Great Lakes Avengers. And there's like the main Avengers in New York City.
What do you mean the Great Lakes Avengers? Explain.
They're like the funny Avengers, like Squirrel Girl and friggin' Big Bertha and shit like that.
But like, how much is going on in the Great Lakes?
They are the cool Avengers.
I think that's like the bit. It's like what are you protecting in the Great Lakes?
Yeah, it's sort of like I don't know, like you know what they need? They need like an Orlando Avengers.
Yeah, like to stop Orlando from being like it is.
Yeah, I mean, because here's the thing about West Coast Avengers, it's ultimately silly, and I'll tell you why. You're welcome for everyone. I'll tell you why. It's because the whole basis of superheroes is symbiotic with reporters.
Let's go, girl.
And you can't really have like reporters showing up in the scene in LA or like in California because everything's so spread out. Like if you have people that can fly, they're not going to be able to catch up with them at the time. Whereas in New York, it's all like the cops like show up and the journalists show up and they're all like right near each other. Everything takes place in Hell's Kitchen for some reason. But like in LA, like imagine like, you know, you're TMZ or something, you get a hot tip. It's going to take you like an hour and a half to get up like Cayuga Boulevard or something. Get on the 405. Oh, wow.
We receive another donation?
The dam is opened.
Ruining your jokes. I can also name drop friends like my friend Erica Henderson who drew the Squirrel Girl comics.
So Garth can do that. Garth can name drop Erica Henderson who drew the Squirrel Girl comics.
Hell yeah.
He won't. He just can.
I respect
Oh, this character's great. This character's great. That's Squirrel Girl. I do like that I assume that she was part squirrel or could talk to the squirrels. It seems weirder that her power is that she put on a squirrel headband.
No, I think she is pretty like involved with the squirrels. Isn't Squirrel Girl Mechanic Hendrick? I don't know if that's still happening. I feel like
Jeff Snyder should know.
Yeah, let me text Jeff.
Let me text Jeff. I talked to Jeff earlier this weekend after the draft thing, and I was like, "Good job,
good job."
I was like, "Really, he really fooled me for a second there."
Really fooled me, Jeff.
Good job fooling me. She can talk to squirrels, and she has an actual squirrel tail. Okay, so
this is an anime. So it's basically an anime.
As I was saying, she's like an anime character, but she's like, like what's her thing? She's just like cute. She can get like her OnlyFans page can get like record numbers. Like what is?
It's like a furry, you know. She's the king of furries.
A McFurry.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's specifically Squirrel Girl with her one power of talking to squirrels has defeated Dr. Doom and Galacticus.
Wow, Galacticus. Jesus.
Would she like have the squirrels swarm? Did she get them like to give them rabies?
How? What was the mechanics of her doing those things?
Although, you know what, to be fair, a couple years ago, if you had told us about Aquaman, we would have been like, that one sounds dumb.
Hell no. Aquaman has always been cool.
Aquaman has always been cool.
Tell that to Robot Chicken.
James has always been cool. I disagree, but that's what these kind of debates are for. Let's see, do we have one more of these, John, before we can let Vinny go back to his life of East Coast time?
He's doing like kill him.
It's better than being in the Great Lakes.
No, we don't. That's
I guess we went out on Squirrel Girl.
Okay, so we're out on Squirrel Girl. That means we're wrapping up this portion of the show. Thank you, Vinny, by the way, for joining us.
Anytime.
I will. Well, anytime except midnight.
Yeah, anytime before 1 a.m.
I'm going to read you out loud, guys, as an ending thing, an email that I sent. You know what, Vinny? Why don't you set up the context of how you received this email?
I had come into work at a normal time. Drew was not there, but I had received an email from roughly, I don't know, 2 to 4, and somewhere between 2 to 4 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And the subject line was Blurf for 2.
Blurf for 2.
Blurf for 2. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'm sure the email will explain what that means. And then Drew will read to you what this email said.
Okay, so yeah, I actually said Blurf duty for 2.
Blurf duty for 2. Okay.
The email, so just set it up a little bit. I was terrible about showing up for work. I was a good boss, but I was like the kind of good boss where I was like, oh, I forgot to show up for like a week, or like I'm in the Bahamas now for some reason, or like I'm stuck somewhere. Like, you figure it out.
I live in LA now.
Yeah, I live in LA now. So the email starts out normal enough. It was sent at 2:50 a.m.
Yeah, there you go.
On a Thursday night, I believe. So it starts out normal enough. I don't know how. So this was during my big I'm on Ambien all the time phase when I was writing this book. And if you don't know the side effects of Ambien, which is a sleep medication, and I was prescribed it, it makes you, if you stay up and you're supposed to be asleep, it makes you basically start hallucinating your dreams while you are still awake.
Correct.
This is how that whole book was written. So, when you wake up, you have no memory of having done any of it. Like, this stuff, you're just like, what? Like, your body just goes on like weird impulse control, like weird control things. But I guess it's sort of like being a zombie. Like, you do things that like your body like knows.
Your body
like,
is moving,
right?
but your brain is not aware of it.
Yeah, so I wrote a whole book like that. But this is the email that I sent Vinny at 2:50 a.m. thinking I was like, that's an appropriate time to send a work message. Starts out normal enough. Hey, I just say we're going to be putting up some servicey posts, what Netflix is losing in February, what it's gaining. Got a hyperlink here. Perhaps in the same post, we do some grunt work and compile major TV moments, premieres, finales, Bachelor, final rose ceremony. Get with Jordan on this. So normal. Don't need to be comprehensive, just stuff we're into. Then the next paragraph says, also include streaming stuff as well. And fuck, a funny YouTube video of a cat trying to climb the stairs. Ashton Kutcher, utopian reality show where everyone is Steve Jobs, and Meg from Family Guy has Channing Tatum's Jupiter Juju Jose, and blah, blah, blah. You get the point. It can schedule for Friday, so give me a chance to look over. Mwah, mwah.
I think the funniest part about that email is the sentence, you get the point. It's like, you know what I'm saying. I'm like, no, I don't.
Also, how it tries to pull back and be like, you can schedule it for Friday, so I have a chance to look over what's going on.
And I remember just answering in the morning and being like, I don't know what you want me to do.
No, that is not what you answered. You said, I think I understand what you're trying to say here. It's actually how you responded. Which is like even sadder because it implies a level of like Stockholm syndrome where you were able to actually read through it.
Okay, got it. Jupiter juice.
Now, if you want to like parse it, it actually makes total sense. It does, because remember, Ashton Kutcher was trying to make a reality show at the time about like a utopian society that was like on sci-fi. It was terrible, right? But then I was like, it's a reality show where everyone is Steve Jobs because he was playing Steve Jobs, and Meg from Family Guy
was in Jupiter Ascending.
Yes, yeah, but she was also dating Ashton Kutcher, so that's that.
Wow. Okay. But what is the cat walking up the stairs part?
I just think I really wanted a YouTube video of a cat walking up the stairs, like all silly, like.
Oh, Jesus Christ! We should use more emails on our meeting.
I feel like I need to like frame that thing.
I think you absolutely should. That's been amazing. But Vinny, thank you so much for joining us here this evening. This audio is just going to be fixed before I lose my mind. Do you have anything to plug or anything you want to?
It's so fun when I play basketball. Just go to collider.com. Go to collider.com and click on anything that has my name on it, and maybe I'll still have a job in a year. That's what I'll plug.
Nice. What about you, Danny?
You can always find me here or at Let's Get Ready Network, where we talk about Schmoedown, Star Wars, and American sports that I don't care.
God, sports suck. Boo. Boo sports. Okay. I'm Drew. You can find me here at my channel, Videodrew. I'm on Videodrew across all social media platforms. You can also join my Patreon. We just revamped the tiers, so it's more accessible for anybody at any price point to come in and do fun stuff like do study sessions, be on Cinema Bias, which is my show on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. with Alec Smack, or do the VideoChronic pop culture quizzes, which are at 8 p.m. on Mondays and Thursdays. I've been doing a bunch of stuff on Twitch. And doing study sessions every Wednesday. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. Also, if you're a Patreon member at the $5 tier, you can now come to our after party that we have right after the show on Zoom. So thank you to everyone who is. I hope to see new people, new faces soon. And then, join us here next week where I'm sure we'll be talking about draft stuff. And our guests will be dependent on probably that.
Will we?
Probably.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay. So now we're going to watch the really really good videos that Danny made. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, Gary.